How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rumour, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today, guys, I'll be sharing a little bit of information with you guys that comes from NGameTheCube, which is also known, or rather, Zachary, also known as NGameTheCube. So, shout out to him for giving me this list of things that he was told as well. Now, I'm going to kind of give you a description of what this information is and kind of how he was given this info, because I don't know who gave it to him, because it was given to him confidentially, you know, in private, so that nobody else would know about it. And I thought I'd share this with you guys because I found it very interesting. Now, there are a few things in this that I think are very strange, but there are moments within Pokemon where, like, rumors are told, but only a few of those rumors end up being real. Hence, stuff like the Rainbow Rocket rumor, which came out, as you guys remember, which was actually a leak. That rumor/leak of the Rainbow Rocket stuff back with Ultra Sun and Moon had information in it that was actually false, but also majority of it was real. So keep in mind, this list right here could be real. The stuff that Piyuk has been talking about could be real, some of it, but the rest could be bullshit, right? Like, that's really what it's all about. So keep in mind, guys, take all this with a grain of salt. He was sent this info confidentially, and he tells me here, like, I was giving him some, like, you know, we were talking a little bit, and then he's telling me, like, the way the person that sent me the rumor reached out was really weird. They made this new Twitter account just to send me it. They claim they have actual proof, but they need to consult or get the consent of the source before they can show me. I haven't seen any hard evidence yet, and that would verify them as a 100% credible of a source, which is why I emphasize really hard to people to take it with a grain of salt. I'm hoping to get some form of verification soon, as I have been talking with them a bit. So he's been talking with the source. This source has been hinting at stuff. Give him this list right in front of me right here, guys. You can see this list right here. He gave them this list, and I want to read through the list and tell you what I think about it and if I think it's real, because it does have a lot of connections to what Piyuk has been saying, to what the Riddlers have been saying, and loads of that sort of stuff. So let's start with the actual list here. So we'll start from the top to the bottom. So, Poison-type Serpent, Legendary. Now, we already know that there's been a lot of rumors about legendary snakes, or like 2 legendary snakes, one good, one evil one, from Piyuk. Now, there could be there's only one. Here, there only mentions one Serpent legendary, so like something like a snake, similar to Serperior or like Zygarde, something like that, a Pokemon that, you know, is a legendary, but it looks like a snake and whatnot, and it's supposed to be a poison type, which makes sense, right? Then it says there's going to be 2 versions, which is kind of obvious. This is such an obvious fact. I'm 100% sure that we're going to be getting 2 versions of Pokemon Switch, and not just one game. We're getting 2 versions, you know what I mean? Like Sun and Moon, Ruby Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green, right? You know what I mean? We're always going to get 2 versions, because Pokemon makes more money, and Game Freak make more money that way, and Nintendo, of course, and they prefer making things that way. So it's kind of a formula they're going to follow forever. Don't expect them to just go single game all of a sudden. It's very unlikely from them, from a business perspective, because they make more money the other way around. Then it says Generation 8, only regions I've been told are visitable so far are New Kanto and Unova. And this is the strange part, right? New Kanto makes sense, right? That makes sense. But Unova is such a strange mention, right? It's such a strange thing. Now, we do know that there's been, like, within the story, Unova was kind of, like, supposed to be kind of frozen and whatnot, and all that sort of stuff. And the story in the game is supposed to have the theme of global warming and the ocean revolting, or rather, the oceans rising, and that sort of stuff, which wouldn't be surprising coming from a Pokemon game. You may say, like, oh, they don't want to go too political, and that sort of stuff. Pokemon always has, like, not a political aspect, but a very, like, world aspect to it, right? It takes, like, real life influences into the games, whether that be a good influence from the real life world or a bad influence. They bring that in. I mean, think about it. Every Pokemon game has an evil team. They're evil for a reason, right? They're trying to do evil, illegal stuff that's dangerous. Some of them want to destroy Pokemon. Some of them want to use Pokemon for evil, destruction. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of crazy stuff they want to do. I mean, think about just like Team Magma and Team Aqua. One of them wants to create a giant, more massive land and remove all water. The other one wants to sink the whole world underwater. Like, it's a very strange kind of agenda, but they all have one, and that's the point I want to get across, is that Pokemon isn't a stranger, like, a Pokemon as a franchise isn't a stranger to, like, they aren't strangers to, those type of things, like controversial kind of topics. I mean, controversial, like, you know, minusculely controversial, so to say. Jeez, my words are all over the place. But, Unova seems very strange. I don't see a reason to return to Unova so fast, and also because, like, I remember Black and White specifically got a lot of criticism, and a lot of people, like, didn't like it at the time. I mean, now they're beloved games. I love Black and White, and they're some of the best Pokemon games ever made, with the best story, and overall the best structure, and tons of Pokemon. Like, they had the most Pokemon, I think, out of any other, like, you know, main series generation that came out. I think that was the one with the most new Pokemon, so to say. So my point is, I'm trying to get across here is, that is very strange to me that Unova would be brought up again, because Unova was kind of finished. We had, Black and White, and then Black and White 2, and that's done. So this could be one of those, one of those points, one of those, parts of the rumor that could be false. Now, I really think Kanto is going to be returning in some way or shape. A new Kanto, somewhat, I think, is going to be returning. But Unova, I'm really not feeling it. I think the reason he's saying Unova here is because of the image from Piyuk. And what I'm talking about is this right here. If you guys remember, they have an American flag in the corner right over here, guys. So you can see on the screen, they have an American flag. And I'll show you on the screen in a second. But there is essentially an American flag on the screen right here, as you guys can see. And this is what I think they're talking about. So, see right there, right up here, there's an American flag. And that's what I think he's kind of like using as an influence, because we know Unova is based on the United States, right? It's based on the US. Alola is based on Hawaii, which is also within the US and stuff. But my point is, like, that's where I think this stems from. This whole, like, oh, you're going back to Unova. I think that's where it stems from, which I think is very strange. I don't think that's going to be happening. I mean, it would be cool. I would love to go back to Unova in a way or shape, right? It would be pretty cool, but it's very unlikely. So I think that's just a dud. That's not going to really happen. So we're going to go back to the list here. But I think that's very much a dud, and it's not really going to be a thing that's going to be happening. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about that. Would Unova be going back to Unova and Kanto be a cool thing? Would it be interesting? Because I'm not sure in terms of world spectrum and where, like, Unova is and where Kanto are if they're far away from each other. Either way. So the story theme of global warming and the ocean revolting. This makes sense. Like, global warming is something that's just a very active thing that's going on at all times, right? It's a discussion that's never ending. And Pokemon isn't a stranger. They are not strangers to world catastrophes in terms of their games. They constantly have themes about, like, very grim stuff, if I want to be honest. Very grim things. They have, a lot of real-life influences and stuff that do get put into that game. So that's what I'm thinking about right here. Global warming as a theme would make sense. Or maybe not global warming, like, right on the nose, right? It wouldn't be super, like, oh, we're on the nose about it. Global warming is bad, like, yada, yada, yada. They wouldn't really be on the nose about it. They'd be very subtle about it, right? Oh, the world is like, it's like a bunch of things are happening because there's pollution from these Pokemon or whatever, because there's been a lot of building within this area, and, like, the islands can't handle it, or the world is like, the volcanoes are maybe, bursting out because of the warmth and the bad weather and yada yada yada, because of the industrialization, and, like, how people have been saying, like, oh, it's going to be tradition versus innovation and whatnot. So the innovation is this new technology and stuff, but that's hurting the traditions and the environment and that sort of stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit too far-fetched there, but I want to just kind of give you that input right there. The next thing here is the legendary Pokemon are linked to this story's theme. So this is something that I want to bring up, because one of you viewers hit me up, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was a very cool theme, the one you guys hit me up about, and that was that within medicine, within, like, essentially, like, the study of medicine, there's basically this, like, little, like, sign or whatever you want to call it, like, this little thing that pops up that kind of is the representation, I would say, for medicine within, like, like, there's two snakes kind of lingering themselves around like a cross or whatever, and one of those snakes has wings. And what I'm thinking is that could be relating here to these snake legendaries, right? Because apparently there's supposed to be two, one good, one bad. And I could think that maybe one of those snakes, the one without the wings, could be the good one, the one with the wings is the bad one. Maybe it's something like that. I'll look more into that, and I'll talk more about that eventually, guys. I'll have to look through my information to see where I can find it, but that's one of the things they talk about here. And then they also talk about many parts of Kanto are underwater, and much of the region is very snowy, which is very strange as well, but fair enough. Much of the story involves the player trying to save Unova. Now, this is so weird, because why would you want to save Unova? Why are we returning to Unova? Like, it's so strange. Nobody's been talking about Gen 5, and all of a sudden it's like Gen 5's here, which is very odd. Why would we be returning to Gen 5 all of a sudden? It's very odd to me. Now, it also says new opponents and new wild Pokemon going to be appearing, so that makes sense. It doesn't mention anything about, like, a new form of shinies or a new form of Pokemon, like the Spinda thing that was mentioned by Piyuk. It says here also that combat is / open world aspects of games of the Pokemon are changed, and the community should prepare for this change. Essentially saying that the combat is going to be different, and the open world aspect of Pokemon is going to be changed, so that it's not going to be like a very closed-in game, but maybe more open and so on and so forth. Again, I don't really trust this. I'm not really sure about this. I would say take this one with a grain of, like, a massive pool of salt, honestly. This one is very strange to me. It feels like it's kind of just taking general information that's been told by other people or rumored by other people and taking just minuscule parts of it and then adding their own random, like, stuff into it. Now, I could be wrong. I don't really know. I think it's a cool idea. I mean, I would love to go back to Unova, honestly. I would love that. But I don't really believe it. I don't think we're going to be doing that. So then they also say here, Game Freak is under enormous pressure to finish the game by this year, and the release Nintendo is targeting internally is holiday 2018. Okay, and that is that, guys. That is essentially the whole premise of this, right? It's the whole premise of this, like, you know, list he got. Unless I maybe missed something here, but no, I think that's most about it, guys. So a huge thank you, by the way, to essentially Zachary, also known as NGameTheCube. Shout out to him for giving me this list here. I very much appreciate it, guys. Check out his channel down in the description down below because I'm going to link it down there. And also his Twitter. I'm going to link that down below as well. But check him out because he gave me all this information. And I am very curious as to seeing where this is going to go. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about it, guys. Do you think this looks cool? Would this be interesting? Do you think this is a thing you want to see? Or is this too far-fetched to you and too far away from something you'd expect or want to be something, you know, you want to get yourself hyped up for? So let me know what you think about it, guys. Would you want to go back to Unova and save Unova? Or would you want to go to Kanto? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, what you think about it. Either way, have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.